And welcome, viewers, to the Daily Space Weather. Smash here, coming at you from the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news. We got a new sunspot rising in the northeast. It'll get a name today, and lots more to cover as well. As always on the Daily Space Weather video, it's just the most detailed imagery of the sun you'll find, and the most comprehensive space weather in the world. So, new sunspot about to get named there. Some large filaments here setting in the western limb. Here's the zoomed in center disk view. A couple more sunspots have grown sort of in the center of the solar disk in the past 24 hours, which is the time frame for this video. And we'll zoom out to the full disk view and those composite wavelengths. They are some sweet wavelengths there. That's 304 plus 193 angstroms. Lots of filaments on the Earth-facing side of the solar disk. We are expecting a coronal mass ejection strike late in the day today, early in the day tomorrow. Yes, a Thanksgiving CME strike. And there may be some more ejecta headed our way also, as we do see some CMEs happening. You can see one actually happening down here. Where those are headed, it might be a little bit too early to tell. So let's take a look at some colorized magnetogram. There is the magnetogram from SDO also. That's yesterday plus today. And here is the intensity gram. A little bit of growth in this sunspot group down here. Otherwise mostly stable, although there is some growth in this new group in the northeast. Take a moment to press like, subscribe, check out the links below the video. You'll find a link to the Smash Team site, smashomash.com/Smash Team. We sent out a special message to our Smash Team members yesterday. So check out that if you haven't seen that. We do send email alerts out for disasters, depending on what type of disaster it is. And if you log in and click posts, even if you don't log in, you'll still be able to see some posts there. There's a bronze level, there's a silver level, there's a gold level. Thanks again to our subscribers. Make sure you follow us on Twitter also. A little tidbit of what you might see on Twitter is quotes from Fauci. Yes, Fauci quotes. If you haven't got enough Fauci quotes by watching the Sunday morning news programs, well, there are some extra ones on the Twitter feed, and let's get back to some Earth weather. So looking at volcanoes here for the past 24, we've got the eruption of Abico. That's what that imagery is there. It's actually from November 10th on Paramushir Island. Abico does continue to erupt in an explosive fashion and produce a flight level 100. It's a 10,000 to 11,000 foot ash plume. Flight level 110, we should say. Pavlov on the Alaskan Peninsula has been showing some lava flows. Keep in mind it can change quickly at the Pavlov volcano with little or no warning. Popocatépetl exploding in central Mexico, flight level 220. Fuego exploding in Guatemala, flight level 150. Nevado de Ruiz, no volcanic ash clouds observed. Don't assume it's not erupting down there in Colombia. Sangay and Revenador both exploding in Ecuador. 22,000 foot ash plume over Sangay, 17,000 foot ash plume over Revenador, and Sabancaya exploding, flight level 250. It's a 25,000 foot ash plume. Please do not pole vault the caldera. Seismic activity remains high here, as we've had 2 6+ magnitude quakes. We'll get to them. I'm going to scroll up the list in the meantime. We also saw a 5.2 at the Kermadec Islands, a 5.2 at the Solomon Islands, a 5.1 at Indonesia, and then about 15 minutes later, a 6.2 at Mexico. Drop us a line if you felt that quake. Make sure you leave us a comment. That came in at 16:39 Universal Time yesterday. South Sandwich Islands had a 5.4, so quite a bit of decent-sized quakes here around the world. And then we saw a 6.1 in Turkey. That's likely to have caused some damage there. 6.1 in Turkey at 1:08 this morning, Universal Time. Showing up orange on the shake map and the pager, indicating some damage, likely caused by that 6.1 in Turkey. Also, at least one aftershock showing up there. And a 5.1 at the South Sandwich Islands. A 5.0 at San Clemente, Chile. And let's get back to space. So here is the closest star. It's depicted here in ionized iron. That's 335 angstroms. And also 1700 angstroms, which is just one of the spikes in the extreme UV spectrum. That is, once again, the last 24 hours of solar activity. Radio flux only at 116 solar flux units. There is the 1-year chart to put that in context. And let me just take a moment to state that we've got a long way to go to ramp up through solar cycle 25. A long way to go, folks. There's some north solar polar polarity still hanging out at the north heliographic pole, which we'll show you here in a moment. Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard not forecasting any geomagnetic unrest or geomagnetic storms. I would expect to see a KP4 or maybe even a KP5 from the CME impact that we're expecting late in the day today or early in the day tomorrow on the 24th. So we'll see what happens. But we definitely have a weak solar wind at the moment, so if there is a signal, it should be really obvious. Next should be the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. But it isn't. It's only not even 1 hour for whatever reason. There's 1 hour of Earth's magnetic moment from space out to about 12 Earth diameters. The magnetosphere, there it is, still functioning. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. Also, looks like not even 1 hour here instead of the typical 4 hours. And let's move on to the KP index, which is at 0.67. So you could round that to KP1 if you like. KP 0.67 is the planetary K index, a measurement of global geomagnetism. Check out the weak solar wind, dropping down to barely 300 kilometers per second. Although we see an uptick here in the solar wind density over the past 12 hours. There you've got a solar wind density of, we've got some missing data there too, it looks like. Last reported solar wind density was about 14 protons per cubic centimeter. That was a couple hours ago there. Some missing data there in the real-time solar wind. So the GOES magnetometer is up to date. There you go. Smooth looking readings from that. And let's take a look at the heliospheric current sheet. So Earth lies in a North Pole oriented current sheet. And here's that North Pole magnetism I was talking about earlier. You'll see this green blob right here. That is the North Solar Polar Field, and part of it is still at the North Heliographic Pole. So until that exits the North Pole, solar cycle 25 isn't even halfway to solar maximum. Them's the facts. Continuing on to our line of sight field plot, the sun's B field depicted here in blue, North Solar Polar Field in green, South Solar Polar Field in red. And let's move to coronal holes next, as we've got quite a few here, actually, rotating in here from the east. So all those green areas, those are North Pole-oriented coronal holes. And let's take a look at it from SDO. There's the SDO 211 angstroms wavelength. A bunch of North Pole-oriented coronal holes. Here are some South Pole-oriented coronal holes just rotating out. Next, we'll move to sunspots as we try to be thorough. So sunspot 3152 doesn't have a name yet, but it's about to. That will get a name. It is beta gamma class at least. It raises the likelihood of solar flares a little bit. And speaking of which, we'll get to that in a moment. First, SDO magnetogram for the past 24 hours. And on the SDO intensity gram, I'll direct you to this area down here. Some growth occurring down there. Some umbral migration occurring up in the northern hemisphere. And a little bit of growth occurring with sunspot 3152. Next we'll move to energetic particles. No spikes in the proton flux. Flaring has been minimal. A couple of C-class flares in the past 24 hours. Like this C7 and this C4.8. And that drop-off you're seeing right there, that is an eclipse. That is the moon getting in front of the GOES 16. We'll show that a little bit later in the video. And next, looking at solar flares. Looks like those flares all came from the southern hemisphere. And they might be a little more obvious in 131 angstroms. That's 94 plus 1600 ionized carbon and ionized iron. Here's 131 angstroms by itself. Again, most of that activity there in the form of solar flares coming from these southern sunspot groups. Next, we've got a star chart for you. As we do most days, the new moon is just rising there, so might not be able to see any portion of the moon at the moment, as it is quite phased out. Mars setting in the west. Here's your solar system forecast for the next week. Here's where things will be in 1 week. Keep in mind that imagery is not to scale. Continuing on to some coronagraphs. Here's yesterday. And we do see some CMEs there. This is not showing them as earthly directed. I don't disagree. Here's yesterday's, that was yesterday's imagery. This is today's imagery right here. And we've got some additional minor CMEs happening. I don't think those are earthly directed either, but let's take a look at some more imagery here from Stereo A at Lagrange 5 and the Soho Lasco C3 at Lagrange 1. We've got about 10 hours of missing data here on Stereo A. I noticed that earlier. See right here, it's going to jump. From 2200 to nearly 10 o'clock. So a bunch of missing data there, although I don't see any earthly directed CMEs apparently. Let's take a look at our 24-hour imagery. But first, visit our links. You can find links below the video to support the channel. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance as we cite fact after fact, which apparently those are controversial now that we're in the year 2022, aka the year 1984. Many people think free speech has been fixed by the new president of Twitter. I don't know why they think that, because the deboosting continues, aka shadow bans. In 2019, a crack YouTube unit was sent to social media prison for a crime we didn't commit. We promptly escaped the maximum security social media stockade into the internet underground where we survive as producers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find the content, maybe you can hire the Smash team. No, you certainly can. Join at the silver or gold level if you want to see the videos continue to remain visible, existent, and free for all to view. Thanks to our gold and silver Smash team members. You can also find a link to ShoreMed there on the homepage at smashomash.com. Improve your health with a membership of the American Better Health Organization and get all sorts of benefits and added features like doctors by phone, counselors by phone, virtual veterinarians, discounts on dental, vision, MRI and CT scans, labs, durable medical equipment, and lots more. Also access to some group insurance only available to members of ShoreMed. The American Better Health Organization, DBA ShoreMed, links below the video and on the homepage to that. Next, the last 24 hours from the Soho Lasco C2, C3, and SDO. There are some CMEs there. Again, those do not appear to be earthly directed as far as I can tell. Here's the full zoom out for the last 24 hours. And next we've got some filaments. And I'm talking lots of filaments. Major filaments. And a ton of them. We got them in the north. We've got them in the south. Likelihood of additional coronal mass ejections remains nearly 100%. Expect to see more happening. We'll keep you posted on that. Make sure you tune into twitch.tv/smashomash. Twitch.tv/smashomash. I'll bet you're able to go to a URL since you're viewing the videos on the internet. Install the Twitch app. It'll actually alert you when we go live, unlike certain junkware out there that barely functions on its best day. Here's the last 24 hours from SDO 171 angstroms. And check it out. We've got a lunar eclipse going on. A lunar eclipse from the perspective of the GOES 16. That's the SDO. Here's the GOES 16. And you're going to see, whoops, a little bit of lunar eclipse happening there. Perfect timing there for the video. The spherical moon moving in between the spherical earth and spherical sun, making a round shadow. Isn't that amazing? Yes, I know, it's CGI, right? Well, it is CGI, actually, because it's viewing the ultraviolet wavelengths, which are not visible to the naked eye. In fact, you can't even see those wavelengths from the Earth. They're filtered out by the mesosphere. That's why the GOES 16 views them from space. So if you're not realizing that the Earth is croissant-shaped, well, I feel sorry for you. The Earth is croissant-shaped, folks. Stop believing NASA's lies. Continuing on to our bonus features. Looking at the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, we see no charging hazards. It's smooth sailing for satellites. Next, the GOES electron flux here is chilling. Kind of low, expecting a little uptick in this in the coming days. There's the NOAA forecast. NOAA expecting it to be flat. I thought there'd be a little uptick, but apparently NOAA does not agree, so I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. There's the one-year chart to put it in context. That is the 1 year greater than 2 mega electron volt electron fluence, which is measured at the F layer of the ionosphere, by the way, which is why we show that next. So here's the vibrational frequency of the ionosphere. We are certainly seeing some low-frequency anomalies. Let's see what we've got. We've definitely been showing a lot of low-frequency anomalies here, so here is the anomalygram. It might be a little more clear. Lots of low-frequency anomalies in the northern hemisphere there. Some rapid swings of the vibrational frequency as well. That's the 30-day, that's the anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. Anyway, there's the latest image. That's 11:30 Universal Time ionogram, 11:30 Universal Time anomalygram. And here is the latest image from the total electron content. That is the free electrons up to about 12,500 miles of altitude. That is where your GPS satellite is located, at about 12,500 miles of altitude, the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt. And here is the total electron content forecast. This will show you the most likely places for GPS errors and the time for the likelihood of those errors. Of course, most of those occur around the equator at noontime. We are seeing a little bit of disorganization here once again. High electron contents over North America despite it approaching winter up here. And you can see some nighttime high electron content anomalies as well there occurring around the equator. Some electrons are out of place at the moment. That is your total electron content forecast. And it's time to move on as it's getting very late and we got to get this video uploaded. It was originally streamed live to twitch.tv/smashamash. And if you're viewing it any place else, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/smashomash. So there's the latest imagery. We'll take a look at Sunspot 3152 real quick. There it is. It is beta gamma class. It does have some South Pole umbre there. Leading North Pole umbra, trailing South Pole umbre, making it beta gamma class. Anyway, here's your rock back. And let's do one more series of images here from SDO before we go to meteorology. There is yesterday plus today in 3 wavelengths from SDO. And that's a very lively composite there. It shows a lot of different types of features. It shows a lot of depth. And let's move to meteorology. So the first thing we're looking at is temperature. Yes, it's the rectal thermometer of the Earth. The temperature of Antarctica. So among the coldest areas there, we see 39.4 degrees below 0 Celsius. Below 0 Fahrenheit. Negative 39.4 Fahrenheit. Down there at Antarctica. What do we got up here? Yowzers. Check out some of these Siberian temperatures. Negative 37.4 degrees Fahrenheit up there. Pretty cold in portions of Siberia. In any case, the U.S. a little bit on the cold side also. Let's take a look at the winds. So there are the surface winds of the eastern world. Here are the jet streams of the eastern world. The jet streams being the most definitive weather pattern that you could look at if you had to look at only one weather feature to forecast global weather patterns. The jet stream would be the way to do it. It's the 250 hectopascal winds. There's the U.S. and some cold air being driven down into the west central U.S. there. Surface winds of the western world are looking like this. There you go. Surface winds of the central world looking like this. And here are the central world's jet streams. We've got a bunch more information to blast through here. First, take a moment to press like and subscribe. If you enjoy the content, tell your friends and foes about it. We don't believe YouTube's promoting the content, as it is just the most detailed solar imagery and the most comprehensive space weather in the world. We've got other playlists as well, like driving, riding, and pro tips. Smashomash.org presents the sun. Do one thing, because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So check out the playlists there. There are even music videos, terms defined. Check out the Diamond Anvil Too Hard to Smash if you haven't. Most importantly, press like, press subscribe, press share, and visit our links, which you'll find below the video and on the homepage at smashomash.com. Today's featured product is a re-release. So if you check out the merch shop, you'll find the Fauci Face of Evil products, but you'll also find Smasher Price My First Pandemic. So that is the featured product of the day. Again, it is a re-release. You can get it in pet mats. Get yourself a souvenir. And congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. So far. You're doing a fine job surviving a global pandemic. So far. Are you scared and spooked? Fauci says make sure you get your latest, most updated booster to sufficiently protect your friends, family, and everybody else in the universe. Do your part. Make sure you get the latest booster, says Fauci. Anyway, make sure you get the latest souvenir depicting the infantile and pathetic response to communicable virus. Just mask the world. What could possibly go wrong? You'll also find links to our Hemp Lucid shop. All kinds of fantastic products there. The most popular is the full spectrum water soluble CBD tincture. You can also find some mushroom products there for greater focus or for sleep or for stress reduction. Also CBD gummies and edibles. Check out the Delta 8 THC oral strips. All kinds of products there. The 3-pack of lip balm makes a great gift. Full spectrum CBD lip balm. If you haven't seen it, check it out. You can get a 10% coupon there. And of course, free shipping on orders over $69. So check out our links. You'll find them below the video and on the homepage. Next, back to some meteorology. Here we've got the clouds and fog scenario over the western world. That's a 3.9 nanometer radiation satellite. It shows clouds and fog when it's too dark to use the visible. And let's move on to our weather.gov map. There's our weather.gov map. There is the key. If your county is lit, head to weather.gov and click your county. Weather.gov. We can't go over all those places, but there are some winter weather advisories there. So let's take a look at the pressure and precipitation forecast. We are expecting some strong storms to develop here in especially Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and some snow coming to Texas. Yes, Texas. Some significant snow affected there. That's a 72-hour GFS pressure and precipitation forecast. Let's move to the GFS 72-hour positive snow depth change forecast. This is in inches. And check it out. There are some areas there expecting over 6 inches of snow in Texas. Yes, Texas. Texas, a place where it's so hot that it's cold. It's so hot that it's cold, folks, and it's all because of your carbon emissions. Why must you emit so much carbon? What, do you have a tire fire going in your backyard? GFS accumulated snow depth change in inches forecast for the next 72 hours. You'll be dreaming of a white Thanksgiving. Next, our temperature anomaly forecast. This is in degrees Celsius. Also the GFS model for the next 72 hours. 72-hour GFS temperature anomaly forecast is as follows. Some much warmer temperatures coming into the Dakotas, for example. Also northern Minnesota. Expecting temperatures well above normal. Temperatures well below normal in places like northern Mexico, New Mexico, and western Texas. Continuing on to our windy.com map. There is the current pressure environment from windy.com. They got a great mobile app as well, by the way, folks. Check out their mobile app at windy.com. It is free, and I'm not paid to tell you so. That is a non-paid endorsement of windy.com. Heavy thunderstorms happening here in portions of South America. Stagnating thunderstorms there. And let's move to our real-time lightning map. No terrestrial strikes in the U.S. here reported by lightningmaps.org. And let's move on. We don't want the video to be too long or to be too late in getting up. So here is your U.S. Doppler radar map. Some precipitation continuing in southern Alaska. Here is the lower 48 view. Here is the clouds and fog from the 3.9 nanometer radiation NASA GOES interactive weather satellite. And here is the water vapor map. A lot of moisture there over Nevada at the moment. Here's your recap, U.S. Doppler radar. Clouds and fog. And there is water vapor. That should clear up things if your Doppler is not giving you the full picture. In the meantime, I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-A-Mash, signing off from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And may that solar wind be at your back. Opinions expressed in this video, not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news.